In this video, we are going to talk about the backend. Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to talk about the backend. So what is the backend? Now, in the previous video, we talked about the front end. So let's go back to the front end to understand the difference. So you open up your browser, you visit a web address, and you load a web page. What you're downloading is actually a text file that contains instructions written in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, the three main languages that make up all the websites or the web pages that you see out there. These three languages are actually running on your computer, on your browser. When you're downloading a web page, you are downloading a text full of instructions written in these three languages. These instructions are then executed on your machine, right on your browser. So this is the front end. Now, there are times when when you visit a web page, you're actually connecting with a web server, a computer somewhere on the internet, and you're actually instructing that computer to run a program, compute some kind of result, of an outcome, create a file, and then send it over to your browser, to your computer. So when the code is executed on another computer, not on your own computer, this is where we talk about the backend languages or the backend. So everything that runs on another computer that you are connecting to is actually the backend. Everything that goes on into another computer's hardware and software, it's the backend. Whatever is running on your computer, most of the times in your browser, it's actually the front end. Let me give you an example of front-end code and a backend code. I fire up my browser, I open my Gmail, and I'm downloading a web page that contains the login form. In the beginning, all I see is a login form that I have to enter my email, my password, in order to use the services of Gmail. So the web page is downloaded, front-end code like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript gets executed on my browser. I see this beautiful form, and I try to enter my email and my password. Now, by mistake, let's say I forget or mistype something on my email. For example, I forget the @ sign. At that moment, the front-end code running on my browser detects this error and gives me a notice. Like, I checked through your input and I saw that it does not contain the @ sign. Please rewrite your email because it's invalid. That's the code that's running on my browser, and that's the front-end code. If I correct my email, I press the submit button, I'm sending this information on another server, on the backend. So then on the backend, this information gets calculated, gets processed by another programming language, a backend programming language, and that language checks my email, checks my password against a database, so some kind of stored information on the backend. And if the password and the email is correct, I get access to some information that are stored on the backend. And then, of course, the backend sends some information, some data back to me, for example, the latest emails. So that's an example of a code running on the front end and a code running on the backend. Some famous backend technologies or backend programming languages are PHP, Java, Python, C#, Ruby. All these programming languages are running on the backend, along with certain other services like databases, for example, MySQL or MongoDB. These are backend technologies used mainly to store data. For example, our emails, Facebook posts, our tweets, and all this kind of information. Before we wrap up, let's recap. We talked about the backend, which is code running on a web server, on a remote computer, and the difference with front-end, which is code running on our computer. Whenever the code runs on another computer, it's like the backend, and the front-end is what actually runs on our computer. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video helped you.